Hey guys, what's going on? This is Andrew here today, and we're going to be talking about the PS5 and Xbox Series X 9 months in and comparing the two. I want to thank you guys for tuning in for the past few months. I'm glad to say that we are 3/4 into the first year. To start off, let's talk about the PS5. We are finally starting to see beta testing for NVMe SSD expansion on the console, and that's good news because we finally get to see what kind of compatibility that we're going to be getting. Not only that, but 3D audio is also the feature that beta testers are looking at, and that seems like a big deal when talking about audio evolution. This also means that the Pulse 3D wireless headset is much more worth it now than it was before. In other news, Horizon Forbidden West has sadly been delayed until 2022, and that means we aren't getting any new exclusive games outside of a few of the director's cuts that were announced earlier this year. One of those games launching this month happens to be the director's cut of Ghost of Tsushima. Lastly, the PS5 hit the 10 million mark for sales, which is making the console one of the fastest sellers of all time. Obviously, a majority of people don't have their hands on the system, so those sales numbers shouldn't be taken too seriously since it is more than likely that a huge percentage of those sales happens to be due to bots and scalpers. Next up, let's discuss the Xbox Series X. This has been a very slow month for the company, but that doesn't mean that things have been very negative at all. Just recently, Microsoft Flight Simulator has launched on both the Xbox Series S and X, making it the first Microsoft Game Studios game to only launch on next-gen consoles. Also, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, one of the most graphically intensive games of the last generation, gets a surprise upgrade with better optimization, ray tracing, a dynamic 4K 60fps option, and tons more. It's awesome that these next-gen upgrades are coming around because that means that these games are getting preserved very well compared to any other generation. When talking sales, it's not quite at the numbers of the PS5, but it still is at the 6.57 million mark, which is still a huge deal for the company. That means that the Series S and X are Microsoft's fastest selling consoles of all time, even faster than the 360. Next, the Xbox is getting a night mode update, which basically means that there will be settings to tweak to make the console at night better for your eyes. Things that you can do include lowering blue light output, eliminating HDR, and even lowering the light on the power button of your console and controller. Lastly, although this isn't Series X related, xCloud is now in the beta stages on PC for Game Pass Ultimate members. When comparing the two consoles, it seems that people are more happy with Microsoft's approach to upgrading storage because it causes much less confusion with the proprietary solution opposed to where Sony has to release a compatibility list for which M.2 SSDs work on their console for the games. The confusion is definitely going to cause certain casuals to buy the wrong SSDs and end up wasting their money in the long run. Not only that with M.2 drives, but they might accidentally buy something like an external SSD that isn't really going to work the way that you want it to. Based on beta tests so far though, it seems that the slower M.2 SSDs are working just fine, so let's hope that it stays that way throughout the generation. Games-wise, we really need to start seeing Xbox games come because the PS5 library is already a decent size, and we barely see anything Xbox related. Obviously we're going to be getting some Xbox games within the next year, but, it would be nice to get some games right now. Lastly, as I said before, the PS5 hit 10 million sales while the Xbox Series X is hovering around the 7 million mark, but the Series X happened to outsell the PS5 in July, so it seems competition is fierce between the two, which is always great for us as consumers. One thing that remains the same for both consoles is that they are still hard to get your hands on. As a GameStop employee, I have to tell customers every single day the same thing. Luckily, the Series S has been easier to come by lately, so if that is an option you want to take, go for it. Well, that's everything that I'm going to cover for this month, guys. As always, I'll continue to make these videos every month until the 1 year mark, and we'll see what happens from there. I'm very excited for what's to come next, so thank you guys for watching. I will see you all in the next video.